We might as well stay in Kerry while we're there, in our minds anyway. What I would give to get down to the Dingle Peninsula at this point, or over to West Kerry. Oh my goodness. Anyway, Pauline Scanlon is a singer from Dingle, and she has indeed recorded many times with Seamus Begley. They're very good friends. She's currently working with the Atlantic Arc Orchestra, which is a project brought together by Donal Lunny a couple of years ago. They've been a touring band up until this point. It's a big ensemble. There's 9 members in the group, and so far it takes them to tour when the big festivals are on, the leg of the Cork Folk Festival or Celtic Connections. I have seen them perform at Celtic Connections, and they were absolutely spellbinding. It was a great night, and that was when the project was in its infancy. They've stuck together. They've had a few changes of membership throughout the years, and are now ready to get down to recording, and indeed have given us a taste of what's to come. Last week they released their debut single, which is called My Son David, and it features Pauline Scanlon and Jarlath Henderson on vocals. It's a duet between both of them. I spoke to Pauline Scanlon recently, and she told me about recording with the Atlantic Arc Orchestra, its work and its ambition. Why is now the time to release your first single?
Well, we just thought in the middle of the global pandemic, why not? Why not take to a bit of work? We've been on the road since 2016, and we've been building up to it, and then we just kept putting it off, and then COVID hit, and we were like, look, let's just file share and do everything that everybody's doing and hope for the best. So it looks like now we're going to get into the studio in the summer and finally get stuck in.
What was it like to get stuck in, though, to make that single?
Well, we'd made the single. I think the single we pieced it together in the middle of the last lockdown, or when it opened up, rather, after the last lockdown. We went down to Milltown Malbay, down to Martin O'Malley's studio, and we were in the middle of kind of a tour, and we had a day off, and we said, look, let's just go and do this, because it was working really well in the gigs. And we just went down to Martin O'Malley's for a day and just lashed it together.
Tell me about the song. It's a murder ballad, but it's from Scotland, Pauline.
It's a murder ballad from Scotland, and it has loads of first cousins all over the place. Henry, that's the way I look at these songs. You know, there's lines in other songs and mystery verses that come out of other things. So it's like it's a relation, distant cousin of Cora Shifag and Lewim, or Henry, my son, and What With the Blood. They're all the same family of songs.
And why was this the right one for you and Jarlath Henderson to duet on for the first time?
Well, we tossed around loads of kind of songs, and we just settled on this. And then we were, messing around with it. And then Jarlath, did that spectacular thing at the end of it where he kicks it up in a whole octave. And, it just suited our voices, and we kind of settled into singing it really quickly. So we said, yeah, this is a good one to go with first. Yeah.
And tell me about singing with Jarlath. You are the two vocalists of the band. Well, you're introduced as the main vocalist of the Atlantic Arc Orchestra, but there you have Jarlath in his many guises, I suppose. They might as well put him to work. But
exactly.
There's something great about your voices together.
Well, he's an incredible singer. Like, he's a remarkable singer, and I love singing with other singers. It's just always been my buzz, from Lumiere to the Leonard Cohen thing, just harmony and singing with other singers. And I'm just as happy sitting in behind somebody else's vocals as I am leading a song, and I think I love the notion of a band having two singers. I've just always loved that thing, and I think something happens when two people sing together. There's a sense of solidarity, and there's an extra vibe to it. I love harmony, and like, you can layer and layer and layer over yourself, we'll say, in a recording if you want, but two people is two energies, and I really buzz off that, and I love to listen to it and I love duets. All some of my favorite songs in the world are duets. So I just like that, and I love the dynamic of the male-female thing, just the textures of the voices as well. And that's new. Well, it's not new. I guess I sing with John Spillane quite a bit, but in this real traditional way, it's a kind of a newish venture for me in that sense.
of this influence the songs that you do choose to record with Atlantic Arc Orchestra?
Definitely. And Jarlath has some gorgeous ones as well in his back pocket. And oh, absolutely. And, you know, as a solo singer, I guess for the majority of my career, I, you know, look for songs that are my own perspective and my own point of view. And I just have myself to kind of satisfy, I guess. But when you're choosing songs for a 9-piece band, it's quite a tricky thing, really, because you have to think about all the various markers. So you need a fast one and a slow one, and you need songs that can take large quantities of instrumentation and groove and stuff, that they don't get swallowed up by it. But Donal Lunny looks after that department. He's the musical director, no better man. So I guess we need a variety and a specific type of song that just really does lend itself to kind of almost orchestral. There's so many of us, and we have 2 strings, and so we do need songs that can kind of take the arrangements too.
Tell me about the 9-piece band, the Atlantic Arc Orchestra, with your conductor, Donal Lunny.
With our conductor, yeah. So initially it started off as a project that was going to be much larger in scale, and we had people from the whole Atlantic Arc, so all the way up from the north of Spain and Galicia and into Brittany, and we were looking at Wales, but it has wound up now as being Ireland and Scotland. And so we have Aidan O'Rourke from Louth, and Ewan Vernal on bass, on fiddle and on bass, obviously. And then we have Jarlath and myself and Padraig Rinn and Davy Ryan on drums, Sharon Howley on cello. We have Graham Henderson on keys, and Donal, on various stringed instruments and as MD.
And what's it like working with Donal Lunny, the master of collaboration, as he has been for many decades now, on his most recent project?
It's absolutely brilliant. Like, I'd kind of sang and busked in around sessions over the years with Donal, but never really sat down to actually do the nuts and bolts of a collaborative thing together. So it's amazing. And he has such a breadth of his point of view, is informed by so many different experiences and occasions and musics and different bands that he's been in. And he's really gracious, extraordinarily accepting and of other people's ideas. So you don't really ever get the sense that you're being led. It's very much, he's a collaborator in the truest sense of the word, and he's very interested in what everybody else says and does, so it's great.
It's a really exciting lineup, and a 9-piece band, Pauline, that brings serious energy and serious possibility to the table as well. When you're used to dealing with maybe solo work and duets, or I know you worked with the Leonard Cohen, the ensemble, which was there 10 of you in that?
There can be, yeah.
That must just be an incredible energy. So when it comes to recording the first album, which you're hoping to do now, how are you going to go about that? What are the ambitions for it?
Well, I guess for a start, it's tunes and songs. And so the ambitions for it, we had a good discussion about this last night, actually, was that neither takes precedent, and to seamlessly blend, the style, the production style and the arrangement style between, 50-50 songs and tunes. So there's that element of it. And obviously I don't play tunes, so I'm around for half of that. It's very much a traditional ensemble. It's organic instruments, and but at the same time, I think we would like to innovate. I think that's Donal's forte, and do something that's new to us, and that's representative of who we are, and also explore the links and the ties between Scotland and Ireland, which it's a really exciting thing. And even though we've all played together in different guises, actually, and in different setups over the years, this is a first for all of us to kind of come together in this big, massive way. So it's really exciting, exciting.
How has the pandemic and restrictions over the last 12, 13 months made you change the way you have to work?
Like, a lot of the people in the band have home studios and that kind of thing, and I don't. Like, my concert or my box room there isn't known for its concert atmosphere, So I'm probably the weakest link in that, but we have been file sharing and demoing stuff and sending it around. And that's a total learning curve for me. I don't love it because for me, music is all about the people and the connections and the vibe in the room as much as it is the notes that are sung or the words that are sung. I just buzz off people. But I think we've all developed a new skill set or new skill sets along the way. So we're ready to go and we've all the material and we're kind of settled on that. And we have launched a Kickstarter. There's 2 weeks left on it. So we said this was going to be the way for us to do it. So you can go onto our website and you can go onto Kickstarter. You can pre-order the album. You can get master classes. You can get bonus tracks. You can get a tune composed for you by Donal Lunny. There's all sorts of interesting opportunities for people to engage and even to just buy the album ahead of time. So that's how we're going to fund it. And it's also a really nice way to kind of create a community around a recording and for people to get involved at this really early stage.